Corso and Catone.
I think, well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to?
Presented by Specials Off Podcast, Studio 42 Design, and Corso Law Group. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is with us in the booth, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, any podcast. You can find us, Mark. You can find us on any podcast.
Well, I know if it's you can't find anything. You're like the T-Rex. You.
Well, listen, we also want to hear from you out in the nation and heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Give us a call. Leave us a message. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to complain about. So let's see what happens after Sunday. There'll be a lot to complain about. Jeez, Mark, wow. You know, I don't know. So we want to hear from you in the nation, 855-313-7287, and email us, corso.catone@gmail.com. Gentlemen, we're back. It's back.
I heard you say the nation.
Yes, the nation. It is back.
It's
because
time.
the nation. Because it's time, gentlemen. It's time for the nation.
Football season, and it's starting.
It is, and we're going to have it right here in the Pats Nation today, and stick around for Catone's comments too later in the show. You don't want to miss that. And hey, you know what else is back? Our Sunday spread. Got pearls tonight. We're going to show you how to gamble. We're going to show you how to win some money. So stick around, and hey, if we have some time, I know we got to give Mark some props in Yankees versus Red Sox. So got to give Mark some credit. I don't know. Maybe I'll elongate another segment so we don't get to that because we want to give credit.
You know what, Joe? Joe.
So listen, let's get right to it, and it's back, as Joe said. Pats Nation, let's have it. $4:25 Eastern, Sunday afternoon in Foxborough. It's Tom Brady Day. They're going to be kicking off against the Philadelphia. We'll get to that. It's going to be kicking off against the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday. Mark, I know a couple of guys that are going to be at that game.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to the game. You're coming in. I can't wait. Listen, we're only, when the schedule got released and they said it was Tom Brady Day, Chris, I'm not coming in for that. Are you kidding me?
Boo! Boo!
And then the next morning, I get a text. Yeah, I'm flying in for the game. I can't miss that. Yeah, so, I knew that. I knew.
So we're going to be there for that, and of course it's going to rain naturally.
Chance of a scattered shower. But listen, it's better than today. Today was one of those days in New England, Chris. If you walked out of your house, it was like you came out of the shower. It was so hot and humid, it was ridiculous.
Well, look, let's see. Rain or shine, they will play, I'm sure, and we will be there to watch that. And listen, want to see if we're going to be right about our keys to victory and our breakdown of this game. So, Mark, let's get right to it, and let's talk about the offense. And we'll get to some of our keys to victory and some of the things we should be looking at. So when you look at this Eagles game, we talked a little bit about the fact that maybe it's good we're getting them early.
I think it is. I think it is. Because you know what? The Eagles can't watch tape on us, Chris, because this is O'Brien's first game out of the gate. He showed a little bit in preseason, but the Eagles really don't know what he's actually going to incorporate. So I think it's good that they have no tape on us. I think to play them first game out.
Right. Exactly. And so offensively, and you bring up Bill O'Brien, so let's talk about that. To me, it has to start. We can say it starts with Mac Jones, but I think it starts with the offensive line. Okay, protecting Mac Jones. Now, on the injury list this week, you had three of the starters listed. Trent Brown, the slob has Trent Brown has an illness, whatever the hell that means. He was on the injury report. Owinu, of course, is still, he's going to be on that all year long. And, of course, Cole Strange. So, Mark, the offensive line.
Well, Chris, so the strength, and everyone knows, or maybe they don't, but the strength of Philly's defense is the defensive line. They probably have the most depth in the league at the defensive line position, and arguably, Chris, I think they have the best D line in football. Right, the Eagles, as far as depth, they're too deep at every position, and when I say they're too deep, they're good. Right, and so that's a scary matchup, I think, for us with our offensive line.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's protecting those edges. I mean, they have defensive ends that can come and they can bring it. They're quick off the ball. And the one thing we saw in training camp and in with the Patriots is their inability at tackle to get to get out, to shuffle those feet out and get out wide, to take care of those speedy rushers, and which is what Philly has. So like we talked about before when Mr. Number 12 was here, getting the ball out quick is going to be important in this game. And so that brings you to, okay, the offensive line, we have our issues. We're going to have to protect Mac Jones. So running the ball, how do we attack? That's the one thing I want to look at. And what kind of sets should we be in, Mark? And how do we attack this defense?
I think, Chris, there needs to be a lot of RPOs, because you're not going to beat this team with just a traditional running game. I think Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle for the Eagles, who was hurt part of last year, he was a rookie, was the best defensive player in college football the year before for Georgia. I think he's unstoppable if he is healthy again. So you can't just, with our offensive line, think you're going to run the ball right at them with Ramondre Stevenson or Ezekiel Elliott. You're going to have to do a lot of play action. You're going to have to run some RPOs. You're going to have to mix it up and try and get space for Stevenson to run into or Elliott to run into, Chris. But I think the running game is going to be key. But you're going to have to do things a little bit differently to actually run the ball, because Philly's second tier, their linebackers, Chris, were the weakest part of their defense last year.
Especially in the middle.
Struggled the middle, the line. They struggled there. Now, granted, last year, Nakobe Dean was hurt most of the year. They supposedly have a big role for Nakobe Dean, and I think you know who he is. He is the linebacker they drafted last year from Georgia. He
2 years ago,
sideline. And they think that they're going to incorporate him, and they're expecting him to really be that all-around playmaker and stopper in the middle for them. We'll see how that works out. But, it's going to be a tough matchup, Chris, running the ball against this team with our line.
So when you're doing that, I expect that a lot this year from the Patriots being a 12 personnel a lot. So one running back, 2 tight ends, with, Hunter Henry, Gesicki, who doesn't appear to be on the injury report, although Parker is, but we'll get to the wideouts in a second. So I expect to see a lot of 12 personnel with, 2 receivers out there, two tight ends, a back, and the quarterback, of course. So that's how they're going to have to run the ball. And then they can play action off that if they want. And like you say, a lot of read options or RPOs off that, and attacking, getting the tight ends in the seams, and really testing Dean and see if he can, if he's what we all thought he was. Now, I will say that all the camp, the knock on Dean, if there is one, he over pursues a lot. Yeah. So, and that can really help when you are running a lot of RPO. So we'll see what happens with that personnel. So that will be, to me, when you're in 12, you'll have the 2 tight ends. Stevenson or Elliott can be interchangeable in that. And then I think the receivers in that situation would more likely be Parker if he plays, and Smith-Schuster. I mean, those will be, that should be a 12 personnel package. But when they go to an 11, Mark, okay, or even 10, so when you have 3-4 wide receivers out there, that kind of thing, who do you expect or should be on the field in the receiver?
So who do I expect to be on the field if he's able to play?
Those may be 2 different answers. Who do you expect?
It is 2 different answers. So if they're healthy, I'm assuming it's going to be Parker, it's going to be Schuster, it's going to be Bourne, and probably Douglas, the rookie. So I'm assuming it'll be 3 of those out of those 4 guys most of the time. And Butte may get a little bit of play how many snaps he gets, I don't know. If Parker doesn't play, if he's out, then Butte will get play because he'll be your fourth receiver. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I hope Parker is out because I want to see Butte and Douglas on the field.
Yeah.
Okay. So
well,
who should play? Who
yeah.
should play? I want to see Butte and Douglas out there with Smith-Schuster, Bourne. I've never been a fan of Parker, even though I know he's going to play because you extended him an extra year. Why? I still haven't figured that out yet. But I hope Parker's out and doesn't play, Chris. I know people are saying, he's already hurt. Good. I'm glad he's hurt.
Mark,
I don't want him out there.
You call that all offseason that you can't rely on Parker because at some point in the season he's going to be hurt, and he'll
be out for 4 games, 5 games, because that's what he does.
And his immediate backup. Now, what they'll do is they'll shift Bourne over there.
Yeah,
they'll shift Bourne over there to the X. But to me, the next X receiver needs to be Butte. Obviously, Douglas is going to be an inside slot guy, would back up basically Schuster. And by the way, kicking down to that spot in the slot receiver, are we sure about Schuster? We still don't know what that knee is going to do. We still haven't seen him do really anything in camp. So to think maybe he's going to show up game 1 and all of a sudden be explosive, I don't know. I'm not seeing that. So I think Pop Douglas he's going to get a lot of play in this game. But in order for them
I hope he does.
I do too, man. And in order for them to be in these 10 packages and 11 personnel packages, you're going to have to first be able to run the ball in 12, and you're going to have to use these tight ends in the middle of that field and attack those safeties, Mark. Because the safeties in this team, if you have a weak spot in the secondary, they have good corners, okay? But if you want to attack this team downfield, it's the safeties you're going to go after in this game. And so can it happen? But none of it's going to make a difference if they can't protect him. If they can't protect Mac Jones, it's going to be a long day. It'll be a long day. I mean, that's all.
And Chris, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't.
And then slow that pace down.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to protect him. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, if they don't slow, and again, it's going to be boring. Again, with that 12 personnel, that 2 tight ends, it slows the pace of the game down. It's just not what the NFL is anymore. It's just not what it is. And so, Mark, talk about the O'Brien factor. Everybody's been talking about Brian. Brian's a savior. O'Brien's a savior. Well, what's the factor? What are we going to see out of this team? Obviously, differently, we that was friggin' Ringling Brothers last year. What was going on over here with those 2 fools? But what are we going to see?
So I think you're going to see, Chris, a combination of the old Patriot offense. You're going to see a lot of the same features and some of the staples that were in the Patriots offense when O'Brien was here, when McDaniels was here. Some of that, this is what the Patriots do, is going to be there. But I also think he's going to bring some of what Mac Jones was comfortable with at Alabama. Alabama Mac, right? Yeah, I know everybody went crazy when the comment was made, whatever. But listen, I do think he's going to bring pockets of that here. The RPO, he ran that at Alabama. He's going to use, I believe, and that's why I want Butte on the field. Yeah. Because Butte and Douglas can run some of what they ran at Alabama. And I think Bourne can as well. Those guys can run what he ran at Alabama with those receivers. And I think you're going to see O'Brien incorporate that, Chris, to try to make him comfortable, right? You're going to see a combination of what McDaniels did and what was done in Alabama because he was comfortable with both, right? Yeah. And that's what I'm expecting to see. But how much of that we see, like what's going to be the actual percentage of how much of it's what he did at Alabama, how much of it is what the Patriots always did under McDaniels and other guys, I don't know. And I think that's why I'm glad Philly hasn't seen tape on us yet because they don't know either.
Yeah. So for me, it's organization. It's Mac Jones focused. Okay. It's going to be a focus out of Mac Jones you didn't see last year. A lot of that bratty behavior, I should be gone. That, to me, is going to be a key element in this. So, Mark, quickly, your ultimate key to victory on offense is what?
The ultimate key on offense, Chris, is going to be protecting Jones. You said it already. If they can't protect him, anything else you try to do, Chris, you saw some of those preseason games. If you're going to have some of those backups on the field, they couldn't hold up to any kind of pressure. If that's what they're going to show Sunday, Philly might get it 7, 8, 9 sacks, for Christ's sake. So you're going to have to protect him. If you can't protect him, Chris, you can throw out anything you think O'Brien's doing or anybody else is doing because it's not happening.
You got to use your backs. You got to use your tight ends. I agree with Mark on that. But you got to get your backs incorporated in the game. And I hate it, but you're going to have to slow it down. So we'll see what happened. But, hey, listen, when we come back, we want to talk about the defense. But this portion of the Pats Nation was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Like I said, come back. We're going to talk defense. Stick around.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Back in with the Pats Nation. And listen, Mark, flip it to the other side of the ball in this game. A lot is dependent on the defense this year. I mean, the Patriots are going to have any success at all. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a top 10 defense. And again, to me, top 10 means points. That's what I'm interested in. How many points are you allowing a game? You know, and there always seem to be up there in that area. So when we look at the defense and what needs to happen, I mean, they got a lot of weapons on the other side of the ball. Obviously, you're dealing with Hurts. You got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. And, you know, pretty good tight end and some decent running backs, right? So, and I think Swift is over there now, right?
Yeah,
playing for them, and he was playing
he's
for
good
Detroit.
running back. Yep.
So
good.
When you look at this, we're talking about our defensive front because to me it starts there. You know, we saw them get run on some in preseason, and the size to me could be an issue when you're talking about Godchild, Barnmore, Wise. They let Carl Davis go, and he had some size to him. You know, guy you can throw on that list too. Are they, first of all, are they stout enough and big enough to be able to control? Because that offensive line for Philly is probably the best in football.
Yeah, they're good. Philly's got a good offensive line. They're one of the best, if they're not the best. Yeah, Philly's got a good offensive line. So here's going to be the issue, Chris, with the defensive line. The defensive line is going to have to play well because in order for us to win this game, you're going to have to slow down Hurts' RPO because he runs a lot of that run-pass option, and he creates short yardage situations for that offense where they're 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, a lot of short second down scenarios. If that's the case, Chris, he's going to kill you because you mentioned A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. If you're sitting at 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 all game long, he's going to light you up. They're going to go up and down. You talked about slowing the game down on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to have to do the same thing on the defensive side of the ball, Chris, in a different way, though. They cannot allow him to be in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, because and that's what he does with those RPOs, Chris. When you go back and look at what Philly did well last year, it was those RPOs that he ran that created short second down yardage situations, and it opened up the whole field to him, and it allowed them to do things. And our defense will not stand up, Chris. Our defensive line and our linebackers are going to have to be able to stop that. That's going to be a key. One of the keys. Anyways, one of the keys.
Well, I mean, and the problem becomes now if that can't happen, you know, first down is a key down, you know, with this defense. It's going to be. And what are we allowing on first down? Because if you can get them in 2nd and 8s, 3rd and 8s, you know, +5 situations, that allows your pass rush package to get on the field. And I'm talking about guys like Jude. Now, Judon's a 3-down back. You know, he's out there. You know, he's a 3-down linebacker. But it allows Uche to come on the field. To me, their talent is smalls. They're smalls. They're pass rush packages. It lets Uche get on the field. Keon White get on the field. Mapu, come down into his box safety, okay, and play inside and be able to do some things with him. But if you're sitting in, as Mark said, if you're sitting in short yardage, second, third down and short, you can't get these guys on the field. The pass rush means nothing to you because you're going to have an issue. It's one of many quarterbacks we're going to face that you're going to have to worry about the edges with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't allow this guy to just tuck and go. You can't allow him to go through, a B gap and just bounce to the outside and hope that Gonzalez and Jack Jones and these guys can be stout on the edges. So if we're in a situation where
Chris, that happened a lot last year against quarterbacks that could do that. We got hurt last year with quarterbacks that could do that.
So that's what you're right. That's one thing, thinking about the front. We talking about the pass rush package. I want to see them on the field. I think if they're on the field, you're in good shape. That means your defense is playing well. You're successful. Okay. You still got the issue in the middle of the field now. See, this is why I'm saying, because if you're dealing with first and second down packages out there, run packages, stopping, that keeps Bentley on the field. That keeps Tavi on the field, Tavai. You know what I mean?
Tavai. He's my new Edwin Roberts. By the way, Tavai's going to be my new Robert.
That's it.
Just for the record.
You're going to dog him every single week. I agree with you. Would he be on another team? Would he be, let alone starting?
Well, you know who's going to go one-on-one with A.J. Brown all day? They said it's going to be Miles Bryant.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about that a little bit because we know the issues in the center of the field. Is Bentley going to be able to help in the run? Is Bentley going to be able to get you to 2nd and 8, 3rd and 8?
It's going to have to, Chris. It's going to have to.
Is he going to be able to do that so that you can get him off the field and get guys like Mapu, Wilson, and get guys that have a little more speed?
I'm glad you just brought that up, Chris, because one of my biggest keys to victory is going to be third down and getting off the field, because you talked about slowing the game down on offense. And in order to do that, you're going to have to get off the field on third down, Chris, because if you want to let them just complete third down after third down after third down, you're going to get blown out of there, right?
Well, then you have to win on first down,
the field. No, you do, but you have to win
off.
Those. No, I get that, but you have to win, Chris, that third down battle. And traditionally, in these types of games, we can't get off the field, right?
Yeah. I'm not confident in how stout we are on third and shorts. I'm not. Third and short, are you? I'm not confident in their ability to stop that. They didn't see it all season last year. Their ability to stop short yardage.
Chris, what about our corners against those receivers?
So when you go into the secondary,
right?
So to me, when you look at the secondary, okay, as I said, it depends on the packages that are out there. Because I tell you something right now, I'm a lot more confident in our edges when. And I know he over pursued a lot. We got to figure out what Mapu is. Okay. But I feel like that athleticism at safety, when he gets in at box safety and he gets Bentley off the field, I think your corners become much better. But when you talk about the defensive backs on this team, Christian Gonzalez is a man cover corner. That's who he is. Okay. To expect this guy to get out there and play a lot of zone. Okay. Which, if you're going to be, they like zone. I mean, the Patriots like zone. Okay, they like to do it in certain
these receivers, though, do you think they're going to play man Sunday against these receivers?
I think to me, if I had this secondary right now and I was coming up with a game plan, how I would work this is I'd be playing Gonzalez man all day, but I wouldn't play him man on A.J. Brown because I don't know that Gonzalez is physical enough yet to deal with that guy. But I will play him, and I'm confident in playing him on Smith. Okay. I'll put him on Smith, man, all day long, and I'll play zone underneath around the rest of the field. If you can put Mapu on the field, if you get if you have Mills on the field, if you have Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones, you get these guys on the field, I'm happy. I'm good with them playing zone coverage around, bracketing up A.J. Brown. If the yardage dictates that should happen. And then I'm okay with Gonzalez because I'll tell you, I think that guy can spin and go with a lot of guys in this league.
Okay.
So that's how I would handle it. So I'm not that worried about their defensive backs, in coverage if it's the right down and distance, if it's the right situation. The problem becomes now when they get into manageable situations, you have that problem with Jalen Hurts where you can't go man across the board. You just can't do it. Because if you turn your back to him, how's our edge going to be? How's Keon White going to be in pass rush situation, sealing that edge, setting that edge so Hurts can't get out, Mark?
And that was always the issue, Chris, that you would bring up when we played Buffalo. You turn your back on Allen, and he's running out of the pot. He's running for 10 and 15 yards, and that's why we always got killed by Buffalo, because we could never stop Allen because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you people are talking about this out there, okay, because we're like you. This is what we give to you. We're putting this on a platter. So go to the water coolers, go to work the next day, talk to your friends, get on the phone with them and say, hey, look, these are the things that need to be done for the Patriots to win this. Don't just get out there and say, we're going to get our ass kicked. That's it. Belichick's this, that. Mac Jones doesn't stop crying. We're going to be. No, this is the analysis you got to be using with people. Take it because it works. It's what you're not hearing, Mark. You don't hear these things around. And by the way, this whole, again, I'm not trying to get back to the other side of the ball, but the attitude of this team, I just feel like Patricia and Judge, now Judge still there, but Patricia and Judge being gone as far as that, the whole atmosphere of the team, you could see it in Kendrick Bourne, the whole atmosphere of the team changes.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot more discipline. I like Mayo and young Belichick dealing with the defense. And Big Belichick just sitting there with his pencil.
And coincidentally, Chris, who's coming to town with Philadelphia?
Yeah, well,
Patricia.
Yeah. So, and I heard that this week too. Say, well, Patricia's going to tell you exactly how Belichick's going to attack. Patricia, you know what? He's a smart guy. I'm not saying he's a terrible coach and a dump, but you know what? Listen, I'm not worried about them getting intel from Patricia and all that stuff. But I think that the mindset is better on defense too, especially. Okay, in offense, obviously. But so to me, Mark, your key to victory on defense. Because we mentioned a lot of stuff. So
no, we did. My key to victory, Chris, on defense. Listen, I think it's going to be that defensive line stopping that early downs, RPO options, keeping Jalen Hurts contained, Chris. As we said, you can't have 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, 2nd and 3, because you talked about coverage. You're sitting in 2nd and 2 and 2nd and 3, Chris. The coverage you just described, you can throw that out the window because now you don't know what. Right now, you're going to have to play zone. You're going to get killed, right? Yeah. So mine is the defensive line on defense, Chris, is going to be the key because and the linebackers, again, who I know you're a little nervous about the linebackers, but the linebackers in the middle of that field and the defensive line, Chris, are going to have to limit Hurts early in downs and prevent the RPO and prevent him from going out the backside, going up the field. If they can't do that, Chris, and they're in short 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, 2nd and 2s, 2nd and 3s, you're going to get slaughtered. That's my key. You're going to have to prevent them on early downs from shortening the field and shortening the yard markers. You're going to and then you're going to have to get the ball back on offense and play your game, Chris. Put the 12s on the field and control the clock. That's your only shot of winning this game because you certainly, I don't think, unless we're missing something, Chris, I just don't think we have the firepower, especially with our offensive line, to keep up with their offense if they're going up and down the field.
No. It's situational stuff to me. That's the key. It's Belichick being back overseeing the situations. It's overseeing game management, game situations, tendencies, things like that. Defense has to put the offense in the better position now. It is, like Mark said, it isn't the way it used to be where the offense was so good, you shrunk their playbook. The running game left. No, everything's on the table for Philly. So it's putting yourselves in the situations and playing the situations right. I know that's vague and that's general, what I'm saying. But, you've been listening to us long enough out there to understand what I mean by that. Get yourselves in good, manageable situations okay, so that your proper personnel can be on the field. That's
Chris,
how you beat
last
this
year,
team.
though, Chris, and you said it week after week after week last year. Because of Judge and Patricia, Belichick was not good at situational football and game management.
He was distracted.
Right?
He was distracted. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it. Those are the pearls. Take it to the water cooler because you heard it here first. That's how the Patriots can win this game. So the Pats Nation was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, we come back. Buckle up. As always, Catone's comments is next.
Special Sauce Podcast. You liking the sauce? The sauce is good, huh?
This will start off as funny as train them, trust them, and let them lead.
With your host, Marcus Aurelius. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Time for Catone's Comment!
So this week, obviously at the Patriot game, everyone's all excited, not because it's the start of the season, not because it's week 1, because they're honoring Tom Brady. They're bringing him back. It's Brady Day. Kraft had to announce this.
Boo. Boo.
Hey, Kraft had to announce this as soon as the schedule was released. This is Kraft's big thing, right? We're going to honor Tom. Oh, okay. So, listen, I just have to read this, and I don't mean to do this because then I'm going to lose it a little bit. I just have to read. So it's Tom Brady Day, and of course, Brady can't get his father to shut his mouth. Of course, somebody stuck a microphone in his mouth the other day, and here's what he had to say about them honoring Brady. He says, it's almost impossible to limit what the Patriots have meant to the Brady family for the last 25 years. Our lives have revolved around football and the Patriots, where they were the cornerstone to that story. The Patriots and Tommy are in lockstep in the annals of the NFL. He then says that the underlying fondness Tommy has had for the Patriots has never wavered. The Krafts have been very good to Tommy for his whole career. There was never a need for reconciliation. There was never a need for reconciliation. Is this guy delusional, delirious? I don't know what's wrong with. Are you kidding me? Tom Brady, Mr. Brady, are you kidding me? So the guy leaves because the owner wouldn't step up for him. Even though he wanted to move on from Brady, Belichick, all Kraft had to do was say, listen, he's like a son to me. He's retiring a Patriot. I don't care what you want, what you think. Suck it up. He's retiring a Patriot. I'm giving him a contract till he's 45 years old. He's not going anywhere. But no, Kraft sided with Belichick. Okay, let me repeat that. Kraft sided with Belichick. So don't tell me there's no need for reconciliation. The man goes to Tampa. Obviously, it was a very frosty thing. He dropped all kind of hints and comments about the fact that they didn't want me. Whatever. He was motivated to stick it to them. And boy, did he stick it to them. Okay? Did he come here and beat them? Yeah, close game. Belichick had a good defense set up for that game. We should have won the game. And supposedly him and Belichick go off in a corner after the game and kiss and make up. But before that, when Brady announces his retirement, okay, he does no mention of Kraft or the Patriots. His initial retirement, the first retirement, he gives this long press release, and all he talks about is Tampa Bay. Nothing, the Glazer family. Nothing about Kraft or the Patriots or the Patriot fans. So don't tell me there was no need for reconciliation when that's what your son did the day he retired. And supposedly that was, he wasn't coming back, but we know he did. There's no mention of the Patriots. You don't think that Kraft went crazy? Because as Chris says, Kraft has always been about image, and what it looks like to me, and how do I look, and how does the organization look? That's always been his thing. And Brady retires, and that's the press release he gives? Are you kidding me? So listen, what Brady's father is saying is a bunch of crap, okay? There was a rift, there was a divorce, and now all of a sudden, years later, you get a divorce, and now you can become friends, and things can become amicable, and because years have passed. Well, time has passed, and now it's become amicable, and they've all kissed and made up, and Kraft invited him to his wedding. He went. So we're going to see what happens on Sunday. I really don't know what they're doing Sunday. I mean, I hope they don't drop the ball on this. If you're inviting this guy here, what are you going to do? Say some nice things about him? You better be retiring his jersey, unveiling a statue in front of Gillette, like the Bobby Orr statue in front of the TD Bank Garden. Something has to be there. Something. Just put his number up and be done with it, and let the place go crazy. So,
they better do something special. I'm flying in. I'm getting on a freaking plane. Mark, you know what? The underlining fondness that Tommy has had for the Patriots has never wavered.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me preface what I'm about to say by saying I have two sons. You have a son. We're gonna go to anything.
Absolutely.
So I get it, but he ain't my son. And you know what? This is the real deal, New England feel, and we're like you. Screw you, Tom Senior. Screw you. I mean, you know something? Don't give me this revisionist. Don't give it to me right now. I don't want to hear it. This is. You know what? This is plain and simple. We can make money. We can make money doing this. And by the way, don't expect a statue to go up, because that will be one of. This is not the only. This is one of probably 8,000 times you're going to see Brady come back here. And
well,
every
I don't
time
know.
they're
Listen,
going to give you
though,
a little
Chris,
bit more and a little bit more.
People are saying that, Chris, but I don't believe that, because he's now a Raider. Okay, you should have done what the Raiders did and allowed him to buy in a percentage of the team, a small percentage, so he then would be a Patriot for life. So this whole notion of, he's going to be back and back, I don't believe that, Chris. I think Brady's coming back. Brady's going to have his thing. They're going to honor him. Maybe when they put him in the Patriot Hall, he'll come back, or when he gets his yellow jacket, he'll come back, and they'll do something for him because he got a yellow jacket. But I don't think he's going to be back over and over again, Chris. So if you're going to retire the jersey or a statue, I would rather see the jersey retired. It should be Sunday.
I tell you, I hate to tell you, it's going to be underwhelming.
Yeah, I know it is. And they're going to drop the ball again.
The best thing that's going to happen is he's going to run out of the locker room, throw the let's go fist pump out there, and that'll get the joint going nuts. It will. And then it's going to be like a down from there.
So do you think he'll come out of the tunnel with the let's go?
Yeah, at halftime. He'll come out of there and he'll do that little let's go stupidity, and he'll do that. And you know what? I'm just pissed off because I don't even want to give him some of the team. That cheap bastard wouldn't give him – he wouldn't spend dust on Tom Brady. He wouldn't spend dust in 2017, 18, 19, 20. Dust he wouldn't spend. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to give him a piece of the team? Okay. He's going to let him buy in for a percentage or whatever? Nah. You know what?
He's going to come out for just the first season back. He's going to
Chris,
Bill O'Brien's going to put his shoulder pads on.
Chris, I will say this. If he does come out of the tunnel and does the let's effing go, right? I am going to say this. I know it's going to be underwhelming, but I will say this.
Oh, the place.
That stadium will shake. It's going to shake because it's him. The place is going to go absolutely bananas if he comes out of the tunnel and does that. You know it is. No matter what the history is, no matter how they divorced, no matter what it is, when he comes out of the tunnel and does that, the place is going to shake.
Yeah. It's probably one of the only times that that'll probably be only times in the day that it'll be that loud, and we'll get to that when we get to Sunday spread and give our picks of the Patriots game. Stick around for that when we do that. But I don't have it against Tom Brady, but I got it against Tom Sr. and I got it against the ex-wife. The poison. That I think it's Tom Brady, but you know what? Tom Brady Sr., shut up. Nobody cares about you. Nobody wants to hear from you anywhere, especially in New England. Keep your fat head out of freaking New England this weekend. I don't want to see you.
I was just going to say to you, Chris, you think any members of his family will be there?
I think
his son. I think they said you might see his sons.
Which is fine. The immediate family, the kids, I got. But you know what, father, I'm not he's not my son, so I don't have to take that stance, do I?
All right.
So I have to take the stance you all have out there. But that's good, Mark. Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. Excellent. So Catone's comments was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, when we come back, we're bringing it back now. It's football season. It's gambling season. We're ready to go in Sunday spread, and we're going to do it next.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And hey, like I said, it's time. Hey, all the sports books are open. The DraftKings, all the rest of them, FanDuel, all of them are out there. Caesars, everything. And gearing up, all I'm seeing is the advertising. Because you know what? Let's face it, everyone, okay? We call this segment Sunday Spread, and the reason why we do, is there any other sport that's gambled on more than football?
No, Chris, they're giving you updated injury reports starting on Wednesdays. What sport does that? So they can set the spread, and you know what to gamble on.
So we want to give you a couple of locks this week, things to look for, a little couple of pearls. And then we want to go back in time a little bit to May 20th, 2023, where we gave our predictions for the season. We gave our picks. The three of us did. We'll bring Joe in on this. And we want to go back and we want to pick the Patriots games for the rest of the season, including this one coming up. And let's see how different we are after watching camp. But Mark, getting started with the let's try to make these people some money out there.
Yep.
Got any locks? Got any?
I do, Chris. Two games that I really like. Okay. Yeah. I really like the Minnesota Vikings at home. I think they're giving 5 points. I think they're going to blow the doors off of Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay's a bad team. I think Tampa Bay's going to win like 2 games. Baker Mayfield's a cartoon character. I think Tampa Bay's going to – Mike Evans is like refusing to suit up because he wants an extension. Like I think it's good. The game's going to – I think it's going to be a blowout. So I really like Minnesota. And I really like Seattle, Chris, because I think the Rams, after, they won the Super Bowl and now they had to, cut costs and have to do a little bit of almost like a revamping and rebuilding of what they have. Cooper Kupp is out. I don't know why that line is only 5-2. I think Seattle's going to destroy them. I think it's going to be another game. It's going to be a blowout. So you want some pearls and something to hang your hat on. I like Minnesota and I like Seattle.
So, and you like them in a parlay? You want to put them together, make a little more money?
Listen, I'll put them in a parlay too. I like them flat and in a parlay. Yeah, I like them. And you do know, Chris, my locks of the week last year, I won almost every week. Almost every week. My lock of this week of those 2 games, my lock is Minnesota. That is my lock of the week. Take it to the bank. Do what you gotta do. Put a something on it, $1 and cents. I don't care. Yeah. But Minnesota is a lock.
Now, the over-under in that game is 45.5. Would you put that in there?
I don't play around with those gimmicks. I just want to bury Minnesota. Bury them.
I like it. Listen, I like that and the over in that game. Yeah. Because I think Minnesota's going to score in the 30 somewhere.
Yeah, I think they are.
I
too.
do. And that pitiful Tampa, they'll be good for, a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
That should get you over in that game. Yep. For me, listen, I look at this, couple of surprises. I think you're going to be surprised. Pittsburgh.
Ooh,
Pittsburgh's playing at home.
Surprised at that.
Yeah, they're playing at home against San Francisco. They're home dogs. They're getting 2 points. The over-under is 41.5. I'll tell you this. I told you all preseason that I've been impressed with Pittsburgh's offense. The steps and the leaps that they've taken watching and they had longer to go than New England did. And the steps that they took just surpassed the Patriots offense. Talking about Pickens, talking about Dobbins, talking about the Najee Harris.
We took Thornton instead of Pickens, by the way.
Okay, I mean, really, who's on IR, by the way, the giraffe. He got hurt.
Listen,
he got to get a sandwich. He broke his ankle.
If we want to go back in time, Chris predicted it. Before training camp opened, Chris said, he's going to be on IR when the season starts. I don't want to talk about it. I was
wrong. But listen.
You were right.
But Pittsburgh. Okay, so take the 2 points at home and bury Pittsburgh this week.
Okay,
because I think San Francisco, honestly, to me they have a quarterback issue, and I think defensively, I know people think I'm nuts. Say, well, they got the best defensive football, but there's a lot to defend, and I do think the offensive line's good enough for Pittsburgh that they're going to protect Pickett. And I think Pickett's going to have a breakout season. I think Pickett's going to have a better season than Herbert for the Chargers.
Oh, wow! Now that's a prediction.
That's what I think. And so you could take them and you could take the over. I think 41.5 is okay. I don't think that's too high. Weather's not going to be a factor in week 1. So yeah, take Pittsburgh. And to me, look at that Atlanta game too. I mean, you talk about some of these obscure little games that nobody pays attention to. Sometimes Vegas doesn't pay close enough attention to them either because they don't think they're going to get a lot of play. They don't think they're going to get a lot of action on these types of games. Carolina and Atlanta. And to me, Atlanta's given up 3.5 points at home. The half point bothered me a little bit for a while, but I think Atlanta's going to I think Atlanta's going to challenge New Orleans for that division this year. Okay. And I think they're going to be a lot better than people think they are. So I would take Atlanta, and the over-under in that's 39.5. So I do think that's going to be a low-scoring game, however. But I would take Atlanta, even though they're giving up 3.5. So to me, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, take a sniff at that Washington game too, if you like that.
I know you like the Washington game. You mentioned Washington to me a couple of times.
And look, if you really want the secrets, we got to get to our picks. But if you really want the secret, the gambling, the betting on, if you have the time and you have the ability to watch the games like this, and you watch every game throughout, Mark and I have a feel. You have a feel for when the team's coming down the field, when they think they're going to score. That's the NFL. You get a feeling like that. So if you could pay attention to a game really closely, and you can bet during the game, you can take these lines, they shift during the games. You can anticipate scores. That's how you win.
Yeah.
Think about it. That's going to happen all season long. So, Mark, okay, let's get to our picks for the season for the Patriots, okay? We went in May, and we're going to start with the Eagles game, and we didn't do this in our breakdown of the game, but we're going to do it now. And on May 20th, 2023, we came on the show, the three of us. Joe, we're going to bring you in on this. I had them going 6-11 for the season. Mark had them at 7-10. Joe had them at 9-8. Joe's picks were pretty interesting, I thought, this season. So
I thought Joe had him higher than that. Only 9-8. All right.
No, he had him at 9-8. He did.
All right.
It's just some of the ones he has as wins are interesting. So let's talk about it. So let's start with this Eagles game. We can spend a little more time on the Eagles game, and then we'll try to buzz through these. Sunday, Mark. They're and for the spread purposes, they're getting 4.5 at home. Does that matter to you?
No. No. Oh.
Okay. All right then. So then listen, I take Chris, that's a loss.
Listen, right. The New England Patriots, since Tom Brady left, are 3-13 against playoff teams. Philly's going to be a playoff team again. 3-13. against teams that ended up being in the playoffs.
You don't buy into the second, losing the Super Bowl slump thing for the Eagles?
No. Listen, so with that said, I take Philadelphia, and my prediction is they'll cover. It'll be 28-20, 28-17 Philly. Philly will win and cover, and that's the Patriots' first loss. I don't buy into the Super Bowl slump thing, none of that. I would if the Patriots had a real NFL caliber offensive line. I would, but not with what they're going to put on the field tomorrow. Tomorrow. If guys were healthy, Strange and Owenu and those guys were healthy, maybe, but not with those slugs they're going to put out there, backups.
Joe?
I'm still going with my pick.
You can still go with the win because you had that win in May.
Yeah. I think what you guys brought up earlier about O'Brien not really, showcasing everything he's got, hiding some stuff in the playbook, and the fact that it's Tommy Terrific's day. I think that's going to be an exciting game to watch, and not only that vibe is going to be, they're going to have to win. That's the thing, and aren't they only getting like 4.5? 4.5. So
this site's 4.5. I've heard 4 other places.
So it's like that's they're close. That's close enough for a win to me.
And that's why I think it's a steal. That's why I think that's another lock. But you bury the Eagles in this game.
Yeah,
4.5 points. Listen, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. By the way, I don't buy into the nonsense of this puts so much pressure on. You hearing this, Mark? This puts so much pressure on Mac Jones because it's Tom Brady Day. There's no pressure on Mac Jones for that. The pressure was 2 years ago when he came into town and he was actually playing. You're going to retire a guy coming in and getting his jersey, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
This is not a guy that's going to take his job. There's no pressure there. That's ridiculous.
Not the pressure. It's the idea that he's going to say, this is my team now. Forget Tom.
Well, that's my point, Joe.
Oh,
Okay. I don't think he's gonna feel that pressure. That's for the people out there to have a radio show every day to fill the hours. But I do have it as a loss. I got it 21-10. So I got a low scoring game. I think the defenses are going to be too bad, but I think the offenses just couldn't get out of their own way. All right, let's go down these games now. Okay, Miami. They're home now to Miami on Sunday Night Football. What do you got, Mark?
Loss.
Good, that's the same. So you had it at a loss in May. You still have it at a loss. And Joe?
I think I'm going to go with a loss there.
So you had it as a loss in May. That hasn't changed, and it hasn't changed for me either. Yeah. So all three of us across the board. We'll break the game down next week. But, okay, so at the Jets now. Mark, win. You had that.
I still go with the win. I do. Listen, I'm not buying into the Jets. I'm not buying into them right now.
Yeah. I'm changing my pick. I had it as a loss. I'm going to have it as a win this year. I haven't watched Hard Knocks, but I have people that have talking to me about it. Now Aaron Rodgers is seeing UFOs. So for that reason and that reason alone, I got it as a win because his head's going to be in the clouds.
Joe, Aaron Rodgers can make up anything he wants. He just wants to follow my lead. That's all, Joe.
So I changed. Joe, what do you got?
I'm sticking with my pick. I got him as a win, right?
And, no, you had it as a loss.
I had that as a loss. Oh, I'm looking at it at the wrong numbers here. Oh,
look at the right numbers.
Marks. Looking at Mark's W.
So what do you got?
And a loss. Yes, I actually have been watching Hard Knocks.
Oh,
and they've been saying, the Jets defense is looking really, 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 really good. And watching Rodgers kind of like at ease, he's going to have fun with it, come out, I think, and, squeak by the win. So I think they're going to lose this one.
All right. So at Dallas, let's get going quicker through these. Dallas, Mark.
Loss.
Definite loss.
Loss. We all have that. That hasn't changed. Loss. So they come home from New Orleans. We all had it as wins before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Win.
Sounds questionable.
New Orleans is going to be better than we think, and I have it as a loss. That's going to be a real letdown kind of day for us.
Right.
So,
and we have one of those every year.
Yeah. So at the Raiders.
Loss.
I had them as a win. I think they're going to lose this time around.
You had them winning like 4 in a row.
I know. Which
starting with New Orleans.
But I think that Vegas might shine.
Okay. So, all right. And so me, I continue to have that as a loss. So Buffalo.
Loss.
I still got them as a win.
You're still going to win that. Okay. So they can't beat. Okay. They can't beat the Raiders, but they're going to beat Buffalo, huh?
Yeah, see, I look at it differently. I look at the wins in a different scenario. I look at things like, like a Tommy Terrific sort of day, the vibe about that day. That to me means they're going to come out and win it, as opposed to like Buffalo, like, they squeak by with a win. And I'm not saying these wins are all wins. You know what I mean? I think a lot of them are going to be field goal wins. You know what I mean? Squeakers.
Okay.
That's
all right. That's fine. That's okay. At Miami.
Loss.
I got them as a win. Am I the only fan of the Patriots here?
All right. I have it as a loss. Okay. Washington. Do we still all have it as okay.
Win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got it as a loss.
Okay. So you still have it as a loss then? He says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Loss. Mm-hmm. Indianapolis in Germany.
Win.
Oh yeah, definite win. I'm gonna try to go to that game.
I'm gonna stay with the win there, but I tell you that's a game that could go the other way.
Okay.
I don't know how they'll travel. Then at the Jets, coming out of the bye.
Jets or Giants?
Giants. Right?
Giants, sorry. Out of the Giants. Mark.
Loss. Jalen Hyatt eats up Christian Gonzalez in that game. Smokes him.
I have it as a loss, not for that reason, but I have it as a loss too.
Oh, if Hyatt has a huge game, I'm going to go ballistic.
All right.
Ballistic.
Joe, you got it as a loss still?
I got it as a loss still, yeah.
All right. The Chargers?
Win.
Yep, definitely.
Same, win. Okay. At Pittsburgh?
I'm going to change this to a loss.
As am I.
I'm going to change it to a
Pittsburgh
loss.
showed me a lot in preseason.
Yeah.
So.
They showed me too.
Okay. And Joe?
I think this is going to be dependent upon you two, whether or not your picks are.
Well, just give me the pick. We're at 50. You're almost out of time.
You both got them at loss. I'm going to go with CORSO CATONE on that one.
Okay, so a loss. So you changed it. All right. Kansas City? Mark?
Loss.
Yeah, loss. Joe, loss.
I got them at a loss, yeah.
Okay, at Denver?
Win.
Definitely
win. And at Buffalo?
Loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, now these two, Buffalo, then the Jets, they're going to lose both of them.
Same with the Jets, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, loss.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, not too many differences here, but just
put an asterisk on the Pittsburgh one for
Chris,
me.
I think I went from 9. I think I went from what did I go from 8 wins to 7, maybe?
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 wins.
Oh, I went from 7 to 6. Okay.
Yeah, 7 to 6, and Joe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Joe, you dropped them down to 7 and 10 from 9 and 8. Me, I'm at 5 and 12. I got them worse. Okay, so there it is. Me, 5 and 12. Mark, 6 and 11. Joe, 7 and 10. And that's our Sunday spread. Mark, I know we got to get going, but we got to give you props on baseball, Mark. Forget the wash, Joe, but talk a little bit about the Yankees right now.
Listen, I've been saying since early June, bring up the kids. They finally brought up the kids. They brought up Boston Wells, the catcher. He's obviously a major league catcher. The big one is Jason Dominguez, 20 years old. He's younger than my son. His 21st birthday is 2 months after my son. 2 months after my son. He's younger than my son. That's amazing to me that he's batting over 300. He's got 3 home runs. The kid's a monster at 20. They're going to have to pay him more than they paid Judge. But, hey, you brought the kids up, Chris. That's what they were supposed to do. They show him promise.
And there you go. And if they listened to you a couple of months ago, they may not have been 6 out. They may be in the wild card race at least, right? So that's why you need to listen to us. You understand the real deal New England feel. So CORSO and Catone was presented by CORSO Law Group. CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, get on, watch. All our shows are up for you to listen to, watch, subscribe, give us that thumbs up, and come back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to preview that Dolphins game, that Sunday Night Football game. Catone's comments, your calls, your emails, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Find Corso and Catone on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or wherever you podcast. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Corso and Catone, and catch the chaos at 7 p.m. on Saturday.